Here's a cutaway view of our transmission on black and white. As you can see here, they use letters and numbers to identify clutch packs. For example, the overdrive clutch is known as CO. The forward clutch would be known as C1. The direct clutch or rear clutch would be known as C2, and so on. This is the transmission here, and it is just in order as the way you would see it on this piece of paper. So we have the overdrive clutch and our overdrive one-way clutch and our overdrive planetary gear all right here in one whole assembly. Overdrive clutch, overdrive one-way clutch, and our overdrive planetary gear set. This is our input shaft. Next you would have our forward clutch and direct clutch known as C1 and C2, which you would see right here, forward clutch and direct clutch. Next would be our center support assembly with brake number 1 and brake number 2, known as B1 or B2. That's shown right here, the center support assembly with brake 1 and 2. From there we have our one-way clutch number 1 and one-way clutch number 2, known as F1 and F2. You would see these right here. This is our one-way clutch number 1, and this is our one-way clutch number 2. From there, the only thing that is left here is brake number 3, our front planetary gear, and our rear planetary gear, which should be shown right here. This is brake number 3, front planetary gear, and rear planetary gear, followed by the output shaft. I'm going to start off by going a gear application for each gear and what is held and applied for each gear. Starting with the first gear, with the vehicle and drive, and you're moving at a relatively slow speed, the transmission will automatically engage into first gear. This will cause the overdrive clutch to engage with the overdrive planetary gear set. Now remember, the overdrive planetary gear set is part of the input shaft. So once this clutch pack engages with the overdrive planetary gear set, the input clutch will begin to rotate clockwise. As you can see here, the ring gear for this overdrive clutch, overdrive planetary gear, is splined into the forward clutch. This unit and the clutch packs inside the forward clutch will begin to rotate, causing this part of the assembly to rotate as well. So the overdrive clutch will engage to the overdrive planetary gear set. The overdrive planetary gear set engages the forward drum. Once this forward drum is engaged, this will send power to the front planetary gear set, which is this right here. And it's done through this intermediate gear shaft. This intermediate gear shaft will cause the front planetary sun gear to rotate counterclockwise, but that will not happen because the carrier to these pinions are splined with the one-way clutch number 2, and the one-way clutch is to prevent the sun gear from spinning counterclockwise and provokes it to spin clockwise and causing it to rotate as one whole. You end up with a 2.8 to 1 gear ratio for first gear. For second gear now, once first gear has been executed and the vehicle is still in drive, second gear will now want to engage. Second gear is very similar to first gear. The overdrive clutch and the forward clutch are still spinning at the same speed, and the only addition now is that we have brake number 2, and what that does is it disengages the one-way clutch number 2 and front planetary gear set from gear number 1, and we'll engage the one-way clutch number 1 right here and the rear planetary gear set, this time preventing the sun gear inside the rear planetary gear set from rotating counterclockwise, and you end up with a gear ratio of 1.5 to 1 for second gear. In third gear, the overdrive clutch and forward clutch are once again still engaged, and brake number 2 is still engaged, except the one-way clutch for brake number 2 is now disengaged, provoking the rear or direct drum to begin rotating. So this direct drum is now applied in third gear. Once these three components spin, the forward drum, the overdrive clutch pack, the forward drum, and the rear drum spin at the same time, the intermediate gear shaft and the sun gear will rotate the same direction, locking the pinions and causing the whole planetary gear set to rotate as a whole, and you end up with a 1-to-1 gear ratio. For fourth gear now, and you have your vehicle in drive and the overdrive switch is in the on position, the vehicle will engage into fourth gear. The overdrive clutch will finally disengage after being engaged for gears 1 through 3, and the overdrive clutch, the overdrive case here will now be engaged. This overdrive case sits as a sleeve around this overdrive clutch pack. When this overdrive case is engaged, the sun gear inside the overdrive clutch will remain stationary and allow the carrier to begin moving. So this will rotate and this will remain stationary, and everything in here will keep rotating in fourth gear. For fourth gear, you will end up with a 0.7-to-1 gear ratio. Now when you put the vehicle in reverse, the overdrive clutch is applied just as it would be applied for gears 1 through 3. The rear drum is applied and brake number 3 is applied. This stops the forward planetary gear from moving, causing the output shaft to spin counterclockwise, and you end up with a 2.7-to-1 gear ratio.